the hood, champion boxing and sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, or you find a way to lose. Anthony Joshua and Usyk are definitely finding a way to win. These guys are about to get paid some good money. Anthony Joshua and Usyk were scheduled to have their rematch in May, but if you didn't know, Usyk had returned home and joined back in the ranks of the Ukraine armed forces, where he was defending his country. Right now, Ukraine is going through a difficult time as they're at war with Russia. But there was a decision made by the government to allow Usyk and Lomachenko to go and prepare to train for their fights. Lomachenko decided to stay home and fight. Usyk decided to start training for the AJ rematch and defend his titles. And I really feel that Vitaly Klitschko and Vladimir Klitschko had a lot to do with Usyk returning to train. These guys have served in the military in the country. I think it's actually a commitment that they all have after they finish school to serve a couple of years in the military. So there's a certain loyalty they have, and especially a patriotism they have to their country. There's not a lot of people, no matter where you're from in the world, that if their country goes to war, will stop everything they're doing, risk the loss of their life, and the type of hurt, although you may be held in a high regard, the type of hurt that you leave your family, wife and children. There are not a lot of people who would go and pick up arms and go fight for the country, knowing that it's an uphill battle against the aggressor, as Russia in this case. But Usyk decided to go and fight. Now, they were supposed to fight in May, but because there was a bit of delay in training, in the training beginning, the fight's been pushed back to June. But they're calling this desert earnings because AJ is going to make 100 million pounds, which is about maybe like 30 to 35 million more pounds than what he made when he fought AJ. And Usyk is making 20 million pounds. Now you may say, how in the world is AJ getting so much money when he lost? Look, people, these are the Eddie Hearn contracts. And Kambosos was working hand in hand with Eddie Hearn and Lou DiBella. So Eddie Hearn, I think it's backfired on Eddie Hearn, the fact that he worked with Kambosos and probably gave him a little peek behind his tent flaps on how to go about setting up a rematch if he was to win those championship belts, because there was no rematch between Kambosos and what's his name, Teofimo. So once he got all the belts, Eddie Hearn, I'm sure, had a conversation about how to structure the contract for any next fight to make sure he gets the lion's share of the first fight, he gets the lion's share of the second fight, and in the third fight, it is what it is. So when you see what's happening with Kambosos and Haney, and there's such an outrage of, hey, they're screwing Haney. No, that's called smart business. Because what's happening between AJ and Usyk, that's the same thing. That's the Eddie Hearn thing. And keep this in mind. When AJ fought Charles Martin, I think AJ got like 2 million. Martin got 10 million, I think. I think it's 10 million. And we all know what happened in that fight, but they paid him more than what he deserved just to make sure they can get that belt. And that's what they did. And it was a wise investment, because look what it's turned into. It's yielded a very great return for them. So now going into Saudi Arabia with AJ and Usyk and seeing that AJ's getting, I'm talking, it's an 80-20 split, man. It is what it is. Just like Tyson Fury and Dillian White's 80-20 split. So AJ's getting the lion's share. But if Usyk wins this fight, then the third fight definitely is Usyk has all the control, and it'll be an 80-20 split in his favor if he chooses to have a third fight, a trilogy. Now the thing about them having this fight in Saudi Arabia, whenever there's something taking place in Saudi Arabia, as far as a fight, any kind of sporting event, it's going to get a lot of negative press. And a lot of people don't understand why Saudi Arabia received in such a negative fashion. It's because Saudi Arabia, I was just looking at some stuff, man. I don't think a lot of people realize this. Where is that, man? In Saudi, oh, here it is. In Saudi Arabia, right? Just this year alone, in March in Saudi Arabia, they executed 81 men in a single day. So more than during the whole of last year. They were convicted of multiple heinous crimes, including terrorism, kidnapping, and rape, a state agency spokesperson said. But the thing is, people are saying that people are getting unfair trials in Saudi Arabia, and they're just being executed, being killed. Now, I happen to be in Saudi Arabia for like 81 days. I was out there, doing whatever I was doing. And back in the day, they had a place they allowed you to come down to. They used to call it Chop Chop Square. And you go out there, and that's where they used to do the beheadings. Now, it's off limits. It's been off limits for quite some time, but at a point, it wasn't for what I was doing. And the locals would push us, like the group that I was with, they would push us up to the front so we could see it. And sometimes, there's some people who've seen it. I've seen things, but I have gotten there or been in that area at a point where it just had the whatever, cutting off a hand, foot, or beheading, and you see them rinsing down the blood and stuff off the. It's not like concrete. It's like tiled. It's really nice. Not what's taking place, but Saudi Arabia is a beautiful country, man. If you haven't been there, but a lot of people are just against the stuff that's happening out there with human rights issues. When it comes to anyone being gay there, when it comes to female rights, it just doesn't work out in those individuals' favor. So then, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a journalist that was killed, and that just left a real, kind of black mark on Saudi Arabia and the prince over there. So it's just one of those situations where there's so much money in Saudi Arabia that a guy like Eddie Hearn, you talk about, he recognizes what's going on in Saudi Arabia, and those things can be perceived as wrong to an outside culture. But at the same time, that's not for him to get into. That's not for him to comment on. He's there to bring boxing there, to make the most money for himself and his fighter, and to put on a great event. And I think Saudi Arabia is also, in the past and now, really trying to bring in more tourism, get more people to visit the country, and to kind of put their country in a different space as far as how they're perceived. And with events like this, to definitely do it. So I think this is a good time for anyone who's looking to host a big boxing match or any sporting event to go to Saudi Arabia, because they're going to pay big money. It's just like when the Zone first came out. They're trying to get their platform off. They want to get a bunch of people to subscribe, so they're going to pay a lot of money to boxers, even some of these boxers who didn't have well-known names, but they try to just put the money out there, get the subscription base up, and then figure out what they're going to do. But up front, they were going to front load everyone with a lot of money. Saudi Arabia right now is front loading a lot of money, and I think over time that'll taper off. But this is the time for these guys to get in and make as much money as possible. But who knows what's going to happen with Saudi Arabia being so close to Yemen. Still, some fighting that's taking place in different parts of the country, and at any time anything can happen out there in the Middle East. But for AJ and Usyk, these guys are about to make a lot of money. It's going to be in Saudi Arabia, and I wish it would be in the UK. I just think it's a safer playing ground, and at the same time, not all money is good money. But AJ did say that he wants to be a billionaire through boxing, and he's made, I think, over 200 million already, maybe more, and he's making another 100 million right now, and who knows what he's going to make in the next 3-4 years. So I have no doubt that if they keep making these kind of business transactions, AJ's going to become a billionaire. I mean, what he's doing is very smart, and especially with Eddie Hearn is, writing these contracts, basically for 2 fights. AJ gets paid as a champion. The third fight, who knows, that may be written as a 50-50 split. But these guys who are coming up and want these opportunities, you almost got to take whatever they give you. And kind of like Devin Haney, what he went through. So it is what it is, but I just wanted to put that out there, man. These guys are about to get paid, and they deserve it. But for everything that Usyk has going on, I'll do another video on that just to see just how much is that going to affect him. But he's fighting with a different type of passion, a different type of focus, and a different purpose. And I don't think AJ is going to have internally what's fueling Usyk. I don't think internally AJ is going to have anything to match what's fueling him inside of himself, because Usyk he's going through a lot. But nevertheless, both of these guys, man, I'm looking forward to the fight. It's going to take place in June in Saudi Arabia. Huge paydays as of right now, unless something changes. Big human rights issues and people concerned about just hosting anything over in Saudi Arabia because of just the laws and the executions and how they treat females and stuff that happen with journalists, and just a lot of things that the Western world doesn't agree with. But at the same time, it's not for us to keep, extending our hand over there and stirring their pot. That's their situation, and I think you just let the politicians deal with that. This is boxing, and let boxing and sport, it should flourish in all countries. That being said, if you like the video, please subscribe, hit the like button. Shout out to all the veterans, and as always, y'all keep safe, and I'm in the breeze.